There we go. So just check if it's up. Oh no, everyone else might say it before us. Because it's just all setting up, isn't it? Okay, just gotta wait till I get the code to give it to everyone. Where could it be now? Yeah, man. For Men at Work, Man Down Under. Sorry, Man. Land Down Under is the iconic song. I prefer. Where Could You Be Now? I just think it's a nicer song. Yeah. Been spending my evenings doing music quizzes because I'm too tired to do anything else at the moment.
Music Wizards?
Quizzes, on YouTube.
Yep, I mean, never heard of them. Music Quizzers or Music Wizards?
Quizzes.
Wizards.
Yeah, like guess the song and that. Hey, can you go to the live part of my channel and see if you see the stream?
Oh yeah, that's where I'm headed now.
Ah, here it is. Okay. Got it. Freaking.
Talking about this song. What could it be now? You talking about that one?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one.
Man, let me look up this Music Wizard. Music Wizards.
Quizzes. QUYZ. I know, because you say Z up there, don't you?
Yeah, we say Z. But I mean, people know what Z is about that one.
Yeah. Okay, we are on.
Alright, yeah, let me ditch Music Wizards, which I still don't see, but let's go to Some Gamer Dude.
Okay, we want alt shut.
What happened to Extra Deck episode 2 on the live?
It should be there.
Oh, maybe I just don't see it.
Let me just check.
But I don't see episode 3 either.
Oh.
Let me do this thing. Hold on.
Because I'm in live and I can see all 3 right now. Sorry, all 4. Got every single video except the first one has battle spirits in it.
Yeah, it's hot right now. Man, I was kind of looking for thumbnails and such last night, but I saw that. Did you see the other Extra Deck podcast that existed before?
No.
Yeah, there was this dude I used to. I think I still do follow on Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. It's like Champions or something Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're now defunct or what. Yep, that did it. It's on.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Okay, so hi everyone, Eric here, and this week we've got Foyo Games.
What up? What up?
Yeah, you might know him because he comments on basically every TCG video I can find on YouTube.
Man, I try to be everywhere.
Yeah, it means a lot, to be honest. It's like, you put all, I think you know now, you put all this stuff out there and you're like, please interact, please interact.
And they refuse, but got to focus on the 3 most popular games or the 4. So that's how that goes.
So, do you mind if I start with the Battle Spirits review?
Yeah, let's go with it. Yeah.
Okay. So I got a little bit of points here. For those who know to hear what we were talking about behind the scenes, I'm a bit too tired to do the full video. I've got it mostly scripted, which I'm going to be using as points here. It's just, I just don't feel like animating it all that. It's time consuming. It's just tedious, busy work. And with the channel bringing in no money, it's like I could be doing that, or I could just work it into the podcast and spend the rest of my time doing something that's more productive, because I'm not in the best place financially right now. So this is actually my first review in 18 months, I found out, because the last one I did was Oversoul. What do you think of Oversoul?
Oversoul, I mean, You're talking about the review or just the game itself?
Yes.
The review, yeah, I enjoyed the review. Like, brought more visibility to the game. And then I've never played myself, but like you're saying, a lot of dual mastery. And then I don't know if you've actually watched his latest videos. He was talking about he's kind of not focusing on Oversoul now because of reasons. Probably due largely in part to your video, maybe. But he's focusing on his game that he had before that. So I don't know, but I mean, looks good to me. But
Yeah, it's all right for what it is. It's perfectly fine. It's got some things I
oh
think I thought were conflicting, but it was perfectly fine. It's like a lot of what Bandai puts out, to be honest. Okay, so
yeah,
today we're talking about Battle Spirit Saga, which is the second English release of Battle Spirits. For those who don't know the history of Battle Spirits, it's a game from 2008 designed by Mike Elliott, if that name sounds familiar. He worked on Magic, he's the father of Slivers, which makes him a good guy in my books. Love my Slivers, love my Survivors, simple as. This is his second game for the Japanese market because he also designed Duel Masters. So, expect to see a lot of things from Duel Masters, even though they're kind of hidden behind other things. And like Duel Masters, Battle Spirits would get that English release fairly close to its initial Japanese release, as Battle Spirits initially got an American release in 2009, which lasted 5 sets. It is apparently considered to be poorly translated and very poorly pushed by Bandai. It's like they put it out there and just expected it to sell with no effort. Kind of sounds like a few other companies today and why they constantly put out failures, Panini Games being one of them. Are you familiar with Panini?
oh yeah. Metacross and all that good stuff. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got that NFL game, I think it is now.
Oh yeah, NFL 5. I think they just lost their NFL PA license or something. So I think that's going to be defunct now too.
Yep. So, Battle Spirit Saga is much like Kaijudo in that it's a second English launch for a game designed by Mike Elliott. It's got reused art. Some rules are changed to better suit the English market. It's got a new frame. A lot of the cards are remixed. The big difference is where Hasbro gave Kaijudo all this anime, well, not anime, it's anime-inspired cartoon that had really nothing to do with the cards. And I remember it being a little bit controversial back in its day because of the launch episode had to push politics instead of product in the very first episode. That was about the first internet controversy I remember. And that was, what, 2013, 12? Not around then? Anyway, Bandai's pushing this one with YouTube sponsorships, which seem to have gotten them exactly nowhere. So, anything you want to point from there?
Yeah, I mean, I know this latest one, they went and grabbed Avril Lavigne for some reason, but do you kind of remember who they got last time in 2012?
No.
I don't know what would possess them to get Avril Lavigne out of all people, but
She's
I
not
mean, I guess
exactly
she's.
relevant now.
Yeah, I mean, like, she sings to the skater kids, and she's got to be up in them 40s. Well, I mean, maybe she's up in them 30s, but like, she's more.
Oh, no. She was older than... She's older than me, and I'm 35, so...
Yeah, I mean,
She'll be in her
I'm pretty much
40s.
right now, so yeah, I'm sure she's a little older than us. I mean, hey, I mean, like, I guess she still represents for the skater boys. So I mean, what do you do?
Yep. So, in my opinion, Battle Spirits has a lot of DNA from other games Mike Elliott has worked on, namely Pokemon, because he was a translator for that at one point, Magic, and Duel Masters. At least that's how I see it. So, do you think we should go over Battle Spirits cards and gameplay, or just get straight to the opinion?
I mean, since this is part of the review, yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
Okay, so Battle Spirits uses 3 card types. Spirits, they're your creatures. Magic, these are your spells, and I'm kind of surprised they went with Magic. And Nexus, which is your enchantments. Battle Spirit Saga uses counters as a resource system which are called cores. You'll be spending these through the game to pay for your cards, in addition to another use we'll get to soon enough. This is actually from my script. So let's take a look at a spirit and see how cores work. When I put this out as the clip, I'll put a picture of a card up. So that's that. So if you've got a card in front of you, the top left is the total cost. That's the value up there. Then the amount of cores underneath the cost is what... Sorry, this is the amount of cores that must be sent from your reserve, which is your pool of resources, to your trash. This is true for all Battle Spirits cards. However, Battle Spirits also has another interesting quirk in its design. Every card's cost can be reduced by the cores next to the total cost with the right cards in play. So every Spirit and Nexus card has an icon on the bottom right. This is also its critical value if you're familiar with Vanguard. And those cores will reduce the cost of other cards by that. So I was going to use Nebula Dragon Andromeda, which is a total 6, but it has 3 red cores on its cost. So if you have 3 red cards in play, because there's no cards with 2 or more cores down the bottom for damage, is there?
Yeah, I've only seen cards with 2 cores on the bottom.
I've only seen cards with 1.
Yeah, I mean, they're rare. Maybe I might even be getting it twisted up with the original Battle Spirits, but I know that there are some with 2 cores on the bottom.
Okay. So anyway, for base value, if you have 3 red cards in play, you can reduce Andromeda's cost from 6 to 3. Spirits have a series of values on the left-hand side of the text box. When you summon the spirit, you then move cores from cards you have in play or your reserve to the summoned spirit so that it has at least cores equal to or exceeding the value of the circle for level 1. So again, Andromeda, this is 1. If you don't have at least level 1's value for cores, the spirit is destroyed. This will also give the battle power listed on that level and any effects in the text box that list level 1 as a requirement. As can be deduced from looking at Andromeda again, the more cores you have, the higher battle power you hit, and higher levels also give more effects. So Andromeda having 5 cores, it reaches level 3, which gives it a battle power of 10,000 and an additional keyword. Nexuses operate very much the same, but they don't have battle power and will regularly have level 1 requiring 0 cores. Magic cards are their outlier, and because they don't stay in play, they just use and sent to the trash. And they have the same cost reduction system. Some also have the burst effect, which is about the only thing I see that doesn't come from a Mike Elliott card game, which it comes from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's literally trap cards with only 1 zone. But it's got this interesting system where you don't have to pay any cores to use it, but you can to increase the amount of effects. Like it'll say, burst, condition happens, use effect, you may pay cost to use its normal effect. So, as you can tell, Battle Spirits is all about the cores, so much so that correct me if I'm wrong here, the starter decks come with 31, 30 normal and 1 soul. That's about right?
30 soul.
Yep. The soul core is a special type of core that unlocks special skills.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, core. It's a normal core.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So the goal of Battle Spirit Saga is to deplete your opponent's life to 0 or cause them to deck out. You win the moment your opponent's life hits 0 or your opponent has no cards in their deck in their start step. So the cores also have another use. When you start the game, you put all of your cores outside of the game. This is a zone called the Void. Then you allocate 5 to yourself as life, and then 3 and your soul core as your starting reserve. So you start the game with resources. Then it's a 4-card hand. You shuffle, draw 4. Mulligan is you put your hand on the bottom, draw 4 new cards, then shuffle the deck. However, if you don't mulligan, you draw an extra card, which is pretty interesting. From there, a lot of things are basically the same as most games inspired by Duel Masters, which means it's inspired by Magic. You gain a resource. You don't do that on your first turn. You draw a card. You refresh all your stuff, which for here, all your cores from the trash come back to the reserve, and all your cards untap. Then you have your main phase where you summon spirits, or I think it's use Nexus. I don't think you summon the Nexus cards.
I mean, like, they go into the Nexus zone, so
Yeah,
it sounds like something, but
yeah, and you can cast magic with main phase timing. Spirits in Battle Spirit Saga have no summoning sickness, so they can attack the turn they summoned. Attack, same as normal. Turn Spirit sideways. Battle Spirits does have a defined battle phase. It's not a fluid thing like a lot of modern card games. You've played One Piece extensively. Does it have a defined battle phase, or is it fluid turn?
man, that's a good question. I mean, it's been a couple of months since I played, but let me try to think back. Okay, so
You're doing better than me. I've got printouts here to try it out. I still haven't gotten around to even cutting them.
cool game, very dual masteries. Man, let me try to think. Okay, I think it's pretty fluid.
Yeah, most uh, magic types are now like force of will. So anyway,
Yeah.
from there you have the battle phase is where the main interaction of battle spirits comes to light. You have two flash windows. These are where you can use cards with flash. Your defender gets the first one, which happens before blocker is allocated. You go back and forth, cards resolved as they used. There's no stack or chain here. And then after after declaring a block, so if you block with a guy or don't block with a guy, that's a second flash window. Very, very restricted, much like Duel Masters, because if you don't know, for Japan, unlike the Western release of Battle Spirit Saga, which is clearly hitting an older audience, in Japan it is a children's card game and carries a lot of the restricted interactions that are very symbolic of Japanese card games for children. If the spirit isn't blocked, it does damage equal to the icons on its bottom right used for the costs. You've said there's twos. I mostly saw. I think I only saw ones. I'd have to do a better comb through the game to look for twos. Like Duel Masters a bit, the damage gets turned into something else. Instead of being a card from the card through the hand like Duel Masters, it goes to your reserve, so you gain a resource each time you're hurt. If you're really, really stuck with a lot of big cards, you might want to take damage just to get resources. I'm not sure if that's a normal thing in more advanced play. If it's blocked, both spirits' battle points are compared. Higher points win. Loser is sent to the trash, and their cores are sent to their owner's reserve. So if your guy dies, you can then use the cores to play spells, which is interesting. If they're the same, both go to the trash, and their cores are sent to their respective owners' reserves. And finally, the end step, where floating effects just end. So that's how to play. So I'll just read a bit of my script verbatim here. I didn't actually finish it, but this part I think I want to talk about specifically because there's some things with the cores that I felt on my Discord were greatly oversold. So I'll just get into it. When I went into Battle Spirit Saga, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. A few people in my Discord were really high on the game, but it hasn't been doing particularly well, experiencing little fanfare and rock bottom prices for sealed products in the US. Have you seen how low they are?
Oh yeah, I recently got a $33 box of the second set, False Gods. I've yet to open it, but yeah, and then three is coming out in 2 weeks, so I'm just looking forward to another sub $40 box to buy too. So
I've known about the game for quite some time due to the Digimon crossovers in Japan. Digimon actually saved it over there, but never took the time to really learn much about it. Coming out of playing it over the course of a week or so, I'm now not quite sure what to think of it. Battle Spirits was sold to me on being this unique and interesting game in a sea of Duel Masters clones. But the more I think about it, that's overselling Battle Spirits quite a lot. The signature part of Battle Spirits design is the core. The entire game revolves around it. It's the resource, it's your life, it powers up your guys, but what is it really? When you get down to brass tacks, it's just a melding of things found in other games that Mike Elliott has worked on. How the cores are used to pay into costs is exactly like lands. Yes, you start with them, and they operate like a resource deck found in later games, such as Force of Will, but the fundamentals are the same. You gain one each turn, you spend them to do things, at the start of your turn, you gain all your spent resources back. Then how they are used as life isn't that dissimilar to shields. You even start with the same amount. Minus the shield trigger mechanic, you're still converting an item used to represent life into something else you can use in the game. It's just a resource instead of a card, a land instead of gas. Then allocating cores to spirits to level them up is fundamentally a take on Pokemon. The cores are quite literally used as energy cards. The battle system just copies Duel Masters rather than Pokemon's damage counter system. Cores accessing stronger attacks is Pokemon's energy system verbatim. More energy required for better attacks. Even the Soul Core is just an energy requirement when you get down to it. The core looks so unique and interesting on face value, but it is ultimately derivative of other games, all of which Mike Elliott has either worked on, like Magic or Pokemon, or created, like Duel Masters. Even the cost reduction system, which sounds unique, is ultimately a take on Affinity from Magic. You can even see Duel Masters creeping through the flash window mechanic. It locks responses to a certain point in the turn structure, not that dissimilar to Duel Masters on responses being tied to just shield triggers, and keeping on that Duel Masters design ethos of being a simplified game for children. Battle Spirits does not have the stack system of Magic the Gathering. Cards with flash just resolve as they're being played. The burst cards are the only thing not derivative of a game Mike Elliott has worked on prior, but are clearly inspired by Yu-Gi-Oh! As they're quite obviously a take on trap cards. I feel it needs to be said, derivative isn't a bad thing. Would you agree there?
Not at all.
Oh, you think derivative's a bad thing?
Not a bad thing at all. Not derivative,
Yeah.
especially with Battle Spirit Saga. I mean, he put it together very well.
This has nothing to do with the quality of Battle Spirits as a game, and honestly, I quite enjoyed the rather gimmicky nature of the cores, moving them around the table. It's tactile, and there is enjoyment to be found in a tactile component of a game. For you, I think it's very similar to Keyforge's own tactile components, the tokens and whatnot.
Oh yeah, I love moving around those fiddly bits.
Yep.
Love it.
It's another layer of touch and interaction. It's immersive. This is just me saying that no, Battle Spirits is not this unique game it's been presented as. It's using an item as a substitute for multiple elements found in other games. Pretty much everything is built on the foundations established in other games. You could even argue that the cores themselves are the old school damage counters from Pokemon. There is nothing in Battle Spirit Saga I haven't seen before with a more traditional delivery system. But what about the sum of those parts? How does Battle Spirits merge everything it's taken from Mike's prior work and Yu-Gi-Oh! As a game? That is ultimately what is more important here, and really is the million-dollar question. Let's get the million-dollar belt. When I sat down to write this review, I had nothing beyond discussing how the game worked. I played Battle Spirits a lot until I had the resource system down pat, but walked away with no feelings towards the game whatsoever. I completely drew a blank. I felt nothing towards Battle Spirit Saga. Even now, days after, it's actually weeks after, letting it percolate, I still feel nothing. I just feel apathy towards Battle Spirit Saga. I'm reminded of the Final Fantasy TCG in a lot of ways. Battle Spirit Saga is perfectly competent and plays well. It everything it sets out to achieve, it does well, and I find it really hard to fault. There is nothing I can say that it does wrong or I take issue with. I can't actually sit here and say, oh, Battle Spirits is a bad game, because it's not. Just like Final Fantasy is not a bad game. It just lacks that hook. Again, like Final Fantasy. I don't feel compelled to play more. I saw what it had to offer. I had an alright time with it, but I don't feel I need any more of what it's offering. I don't want to explore more colours or decks. I don't want to share it with my friends. I just feel nothing, as I did with the original Final Fantasy review. The main difference between the two is that I ultimately came to the conclusion that Final Fantasy was a bit on the boring side. But I can't quite bring myself to say Battle Spirits is boring. It just doesn't click with me. And that's where I actually finished. I didn't get to actually write my summary.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I mean, much of the U.S. population is probably feeling right now. They're not feeling the hook, I guess, right now.
It is down here as well. I kind of just see it sit on the shelf. Uh, I think only Good Games carries it though.
Yeah, because they're the chain, worldwide chain.
Yeah, they are now. I
Uh,
wonder how long till my local, the GameScube, is going to get absorbed by them.
mm. Man, so they're really just taking over out there, huh?
Oh yeah, they've been doing this for years. I remember when my the first LGS I majorly went to, the Sydney Game Centre, became a Good Game. That was
Wow.
many years ago now. That's shut down now. It was pretty much the first really big store in the Sydney area.
Wow. I don't like the sound of that, man.
I'm sure they'll
I've
be
just
fine over there.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I've just seen the one when I went to by Gen Con, like in Indianapolis, Indiana. They had a good games, but that was the first time I've heard of it. But crazy.
Yeah, so I don't really have much more to add on Battle Spirits. I, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's bad or anything, as I said. And I do like a lot of the elements there. It's just, there's not, and I did play Purple, so I've seen the elements of Battle Spirits played with directly. I know Purple's mill and, sorry, Blue's mill, and if you know me, I love my mill decks. I love my burn decks. I like being that guy.
Uh,
It's because I like. I'd probably like blue in this a lot because I like a big enchantment board where I'm just sitting behind, just going, okay, am I doing this? It pops off this, 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 and this. Okay, but as I said, I think where I am, I'd just rather go back and play Yu-Gi-Oh or Vanguard.
hmm.
It's like they're what's clicking with me at the moment. I mean, I think if I think I could probably see if it was just I wasn't in the mood for Battle Spirits, but yeah, it's just it's probably a me thing, and I'm gonna guess in a lot of cases in the states, it's just not what the people want from a game. It's just too different for to their tastes, and obviously One Piece, which is doing gangbusters, is much closer to their tastes.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the biggest anime IP too. You've heard the latest from Battle Spirit Saga though?
No, no one even really talks about it now in the Discord, and I don't really have the time to follow stuff.
Yeah, so set two, they brought in like a few like Gundam
Oh yeah, yeah, and the
insert.
Evangelion card's coming. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, they've got the Evangelion cards coming with with a way more numerous than the battles than the Gundam set of set two, and they're gonna make a whole set of an Evangelion, like a whole Evangelion set in 2024
Oh,
after the set four.
someone
So
better
you
watch
know,
Hunter. Someone better watch Hunter Surge. He's gonna be on. We need to watch him that doesn't do anything silly because he was
uh,
dreading this.
oh man, what Hunter Surge say?
He didn't want a full crossover, so he doesn't particularly like them.
Oh yeah. Well, he's better get used to it because Bandai, they own Battle Spirits, so they've already got all the cards printed up or whatever. They just got to make little adjustments. So they're gonna do everything they can to make this game win because they own the whole property. No licensing agreement is just out the door. So
I'm actually really curious now in retrospect why they didn't seem to give a shit about the Ranger card game from about, I think it was 8 years back now. Back when they owned Power Rangers.
man,
It's like they put it
yeah,
out. I
yeah,
saw the starter decks and they didn't give a shit. And they put out some zombie game shortly before Dragon Ball Super. They released one set and just left it to rot. I know, zombies,
yeah.
ironic, rotting. But yeah,
Zombie World Order, yeah. I mean, it seems like Zombie World Order pretty much turned into Digimon. Well, no. The art, did it come before Dragon Ball Super?
I think shortly.
Yeah. I think it pretty much turned into DBS, I think. But something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they just kind of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, I guess. I don't know.
I wonder if then Zombie World Order was the original intent to release an upgraded version of the original Dragon Ball Super from Japan, the IC Cardos game, because Dragon Ball Super's English release is a very, very high modification of older Japanese game by a couple years.
The Dragon Ball game, the card ass game?
Yeah, the Japanese one. Yeah, a lot of the elements of the Dragon Ball Super, which is what it's being rebooted now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one it comes from that game. So, yeah, Dragon Ball Super is kind of in a similar situation to Vanguard, where it's on its third reboot, but it's not really because the our Dragon Ball Super, the current one that's finishing, never got released in Japan. So Japan's just gone from 1 to 3.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Super is a game I really wish took off here, but it's only very specific areas, and I don't want to go out at night to those areas to play it.
CD areas or just too far?
Can't it be both?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like in Dallas, they had a pretty good scene, but here, like in Little Rock, not so much right now. Well, I mean, like before the big pandemic, they were still going, but not so much right now. But yeah, let's see what that reboot does. People are not really too excited about that reboot, but
Yeah,
maybe people and the mobile, like can't lose with the mobile.
yeah, the new anime doesn't seem to be going over very well. Daima, I think it's called, the one where it's the Dragon Ball kids.
I have not even heard about that one. I
Yeah,
know they were doing Dragon Ball Superheroes, but I guess that's just like a internet shorts thing, right?
yeah, they're doing a new series next year. It's you're familiar with the Flintstone kids and a pup named Scooby Doo and that.
Oh yeah,
Think of that for Dragon Ball, except that
Tiny Toon Adventures, crazy.
yeah, except that they turned the whole cast is turned into kids and the kids are turned into babies.
I mean, didn't they learn from? Man, what's that Dragon Ball? What's that Dragon Ball with Kid Goku?
GT, step into the
Dragon Ball.
Grand Tour.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, didn't they learn?
hot take. I legit, unironically, love the GT rap. And I like the One Piece rap from 4 Kids too.
Yeah, I mean, my guy was he put on that video. I never really even. Yeah, I mean, can you hum a few bars? Because I really don't even recall.
I don't want to embarrass myself, mate.
No. Yeah, but
I used to be quite
yeah,
good on the SingStar. But no. Let's get to a couple of comments from Jason. Do you guys feel oversaturated with TCGs? Definitely.
definitely. Yeah, but you can see what I said. Not me. The more, the merrier.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you get to a point where it's what's that thing that's thing called where there's too many options, option paralysis or something, decision paralysis.
Um, Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, yeah. For that, I'm just feeling myself going. All of those options, I'd rather just go play Yu-Gi-Oh and Vanguard.
Mm.
I'd rather just simplify to something I know. Even though Vanguard's still kind of second verse, same as the first in a lot of ways, but yeah. So, isn't Kaijudo a ripoff of Duel Masters? No, Kaijudo is a relaunch of Duel Masters. They're both owned by Wizards of the Coast slash Hasbro, and Kaijudo was meant to be the relaunch of Duel Masters, and it failed
Yeah.
because it got its ass kicked to the curb quite hard because of a mix of Hasbro keeping it in the States for the most part, and the anime having nothing, sorry, the cartoon, I should say, having nothing to do with anything really for the card games. It wasn't good at selling the product. And three, Vanguard made a big scene at the time. I think it was more Vanguard than anything.
Mm.
Okay,
Good history.
so sorry.
Oh, I say good history there.
Clefferdunk, I think Duel Master style games are usually fine, but no one's found that oomph that it needs to become more exciting than what regular Duel Masters provided. More exciting to overtake Duel Masters. I mean, yeah, I actually fully agree with that. I enjoyed Chrono Clash a lot. I'm going to play it with a mate next weekend. My first time actually getting to play the really good Evangelion set because I broke up with a mate that I used to play with. But yeah, I, I've, I I don't really feel anything Bandai's put out. Again, I've still got to check out One Piece, but none of these games really hit the same mark. I've gone back and played Duel Masters, even the first block, the first five sets in recent years. It still holds up really, really well. There's something magical about the design of that card game. It's the cards that are the problem in most of these games. I also have developed a real distaste for Digimon's the combination of the evolution mechanic and the security slash guardians, whatever the game calls it, attacking back. I don't like those two systems together.
Mm. You're talking about the new guys that flash in. You're talking about when you're being attacked, or what are you talking
Oh no,
about?
no, I'm talking about the evolution mechanic requires a lot of effort. Even though it gives you the plus one, it still requires effort on the player's standpoint. From the player's standpoint, and then you smash into a guardian, and it's got more power than you, and your guy dies, and it's like, well, damn, that doesn't feel good at all. And I think in Chrono Clash, right, you didn't have the evolution mechanic, but you had the Guardians attacking back. But Digimon called security. The Guardians attacking back felt perfectly fine there. I'm inclined to
Okay.
believe that either you have the evolution mechanic, sorry, I should say digivolution mechanic, or you have the Guardians such shields, whatever you call them, attacking back. You don't have both. I think that combination produces a feels bad experience, or at least a frustrating experience.
Yeah, I mean, but you might not hit a Digimon from the security though. That's the good thing though.
Yeah, but not it's not something I particularly agree with in terms of design. That's just my
Mm.
take. I mean, people that play Digimon might think it's perfectly fine. They're like, "What the hell are you on about?" They might think I'm stupid or whatever. But that's just my take. I actually think I preferred Chrono Clash, except the Godzilla set because the Godzilla set's hot trash. I preferred the Chrono Clash as a game a bit more because I preferred how the mechanics gelled.
Mm. Yeah, I just got to play it like a few times, but wish I could play some more. I've just got the Naruto set laying around, but
I've got
yeah,
everything except My Hero Academia.
everything. They only came with like three IPs, four IPs, right?
In English, three, yeah. Evangelion, Naruto, and Godzilla. Europe
Oh,
got My Hero Academia.
okay, nice.
Yeah, Jasco stopped it from getting released in the West.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Still a little bit sad
Man,
about that.
oh yeah. But in security though, half the time you're gonna get hit by like you're gonna get a smaller Digimon to come out though. So it's like, did you ever run the percentages of when you'll get killed by security? Probably
No,
like less than at the
I,
time.
I didn't get that far into it. As far as Digimon goes, uh, played the demo on the phone in Japanese to death. Absolutely loved it. For some reason, when we got to the starter decks, it was okay. And then we did a bit of the full decks on Untap before we fully invested. And gradually from that starter deck experience all the way through to the full deck, I just fell out of the game.
Hmm.
The,
I hear you.
and it's not like I don't love the IP. I love the IP to death. And I like that type of game. It's just that as bro, I think we talked about this with Nate a couple about a month back now. For as dodgy as a game as Hyper Coliseum is, and it is not a good game. It at least feels a bit more like Digimon in a way.
Mm. Never had too much of any experience with that one. But yeah. But like I say, I'm more of a board gamer, card gamer. With like any game, for the most part, I'll sit down there and like enjoy it with some starter decks and maybe like a little bit of twisting it up just to enjoy the mechanics. But I don't have to be in love with it just to play it a little bit and play something else. That's my whole thing.
Oh,
But
speaking of playing things, mate, next week is also teaching me to play uh, not Week Cross, Wash Forwards. It's my first time.
boys,
It's my first time actually trying Wash Forwards because I've been told on the channel you should try it out. You should try it out. I never got around to it, and he's like, "We're going to try it out." He's
yeah,
been playing it for years, but he's just curious how I see it.
Weiss is just like a weird little vanguard with three back row, and they just boost up the guys in front of them, and it's cool.
Well, it's more Proto Vanguard, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But then the old One Piece would be the prototype of that. Then
Hmm. Yeah, never played that old One Piece, so
it's broken beyond belief.
okay.
Mate played it very very heavily back when it was relevant and current, while the Four Kids dub was going on, and he said after it finished, he really really liked the game, but you could tell that there was a lot of design flaws in it. Namely, that you won through your opponent decking out a lot. He saw as a major problem
Hmm.
because you just uh, it uses a similar HP system to Pokemon, but each of the characters you put the life from the deck underneath them, and as they take damage, those cards I think are sent to your hand. It's been a very long time. It's like 20 years ago now.
Yeah. I'm sure nothing a set two couldn't fix, but they probably only got the one set, right?
It's two sets.
Two sets, okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. Maybe three.
I think it went for 17 in Japan.
Okay. 17. Wow. It's just crazy how, like, I mean, what do you think the difference was to make them get to 17 sets?
Okay, so this is something that I fell out of the anime community around 2012-ish, maybe 15. That was when I just stopped being as heavily into anime. And I remember back when I was more heavily into it, One Piece was not a big IP. Back when Four Kids had it, I mean in English, it was of course big in Japan. In the English sector, market I should say, not very big. This was a combination of the Four Kids dub not being liked, and then the original parts of the Funimation dub just not catching on. Ever since then, apparently it's caught a lot of steam, and it's grown exponentially in English, and I think that has a lot of factors to do with it. It just wasn't a popular IP at the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it's surely on fire right now. So surely on fire right now. Hmm. Man, I wonder will anybody try to take on that game and kind of modernize it now?
Um, about that. Yeah, I have been.
About that. Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't told him yet, and he's going to hear through this, but I'd like to make it a joint venture with Jeff. I
breaking
figured out
news, people.
I figured out how to fix a lot of the issues. It's just I think I need someone else to help me with it.
Sweet. Yeah, I need to look more into that game to see how it's played, so I know what I'm in store for.
Yeah, been bringing over a lot of concepts from other things to patch up some issues with it, and I want to use a distribution model system I've talked to Jeff about in the past that is kind of a take on what Keyforge does, but not exactly.
Hmm.
We'll talk more about it once I've finished prototyping and I've shown it to Jeff. But yeah,
Sounds good. Sounds real good. I know last time you were talking about on our last cast, you were talking about the kind of like the robot game. What's the word on the robot game?
that's basically what it's evolved into.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right, robots, a little bit of Q4s, a little bit of One Piece.
Yeah, I
Sounds
I,
it.
I don't know what theming it'll have. I mean, I was leaning into having Hyperduke be an extended universe, but where there's alternate realms where they're different things. But that's definitely not going to happen now because Hyperduke's not over. I think it'd be best to give it its own IP.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nate, I'm telling you
Okay.
now, if you're listening, I want to include you in this because I think I need someone with your expertise as well to help me out with this. Yeah, I've got the whole plan in my head. I don't want to say too much more, but I think I've figured out how to get it over. And yes, I watch too much wrestling. I'm picking up too much of the lingo and using it in normal conversations.
I totally missed it. What did you say?
I was just commenting that I use too much wrestling lingo in normal conversations. I watch too much. I got to stop.
Oh, I mean, I totally missed the wrestling lingo
Oh,
that you used.
getting it over.
Okay, getting it over. Okay.
Yeah,
I had no idea that was wrestling lingo, but I'll take it.
yeah. A friend was telling me that have you, how is that Alpha Clash doing up your way?
Alpha class. Yeah, I mean, I got a kit. I showed it off to some people, but as far as just walking in the store seeing people play, I haven't. I've talked to some people. They've said that they've done some kitchen table play, but haven't just really seen people in the store playing. But could just be me missing it. But yeah, I know
Yeah,
like one really pushes it, but other than that, like just kind of still got a lot of room for growth.
yeah. Apparently, my mate was in Good Game the other week, I think it was, or the other day, and they were pushing it really hard to him, and he had a good giggle at it because uh, a lot of elements from that game come from or are modified versions of the old World of Warcraft game. And it's like this person's too young to. This person's expressing it as this interesting new game. It's like, no. You're just not old enough to remember World of Warcraft.
Okay. Like, I mean, which elements? Because it had a lot of Dragon Ball Super to me, but which elements do you remember?
If I remember what he said in the conversation, because I didn't look too far into it, was a lot of. Let's just see if I can find the conversation. That might be easier. That might just be easier. But yeah, I think it was something to do with the resource system. being a near carbon copy. But let's just see.
Hmm.
Let's just see.
I mean, in World of Warcraft, you put any card face down, I believe, but some of those can be traps, so you can
And
pop
then
them
you got the
face up.
quest cards as well.
You got the what cards as well?
Quest cards in World of Warcraft.
Hmm.
Okay,
Been
let's
so long with those cards.
have a look. Yeah, he said to me, he was sold it as it's similar to My Hero Academia, but it's better according to the guy that tested it. And its resource system is closer to Magic, but you can use any card in your hand. He really likes that. And I was just thinking to myself, looking at the cards, isn't that just World of Warcraft? How is it like My Hero Academia? I mentioned WoW, and the guy's like, oh, I didn't know that.
Hmm. Yeah, I got a lot of Dragon Ball Super from it myself, but yeah, I mean, it's got a ruler or whatever. It's got a commander like a Dragon Ball Super, but
Yeah, so did World of Warcraft.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, those commanders were kind of more well. I don't know, just a lot of little different things. But it seems like more Dragon Ball Super than WoW. But WoW is a lot of Dragon Ball Super. But I love the overlap in the games.
Yeah, as I said, I haven't actually looked into it, but it's just what I've been told. And it seems like the stores are pushing it here, but a bit like what's it called? Oh, what's that other Kickstarter one? The one that's Weebs of the Coast.
Grand
Yeah,
Archive.
Grand Archive is pushed heavily by Good Games here. I don't really see people play it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I know over here we have a Monday night Grand Archive in one of the stores I frequent. But yeah, I mean, they got a real player base, but I'm sure not. I'm sure they got to break into more markets to really get all popular like that. Mm.
Yeah, I think this actually might lead into the failure question a bit, because look at, I think it's fairly obvious now that MetaZoo has failed.
Medicine was filled.
D Spirits, I think, has.
D Spirits, I mean, they never really, yeah, they haven't taken off as big as Metazoo. But yeah, Metazoo, I hear people saying that, but at the same time, they do have the they do have the Hello Kitty crossover, which will bring in a pretty hefty female demographic. And the thing about Metazoo is like they did get to big level. They've already got their name out there. They just got to follow up with a nice anime, nice video game or something. They just got to follow up, and then they do still have a fighting chance. I'll say it like that.
So maybe it's different in the States because you guys have it at Walmart, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Target I've seen, I believe, and yeah.
yeah. Here, that's not the case. It turned up in the card stores and the hobby stores. All the owners were basically sold on it being the hot new thing. It's on deep clearance. There's no new stock. No one cares.
Yeah. I mean, like you could say they've been dropping the ball, but
See, I can. So this might be a bit presumptuous on my part, but I think I've said this before, but the the original Kickstarter looked really scammy to me. Like it was more marketing than anything because the
hmm,
numbers really don't line up with what they produced.
I never looked at the OG Kickstarter honestly.
Yeah, so That's my take on it. That the numbers don't line up.
Hmm.
When
Yeah,
looking
I
at the
know.
cards in
I know.
front of me,
Like it. But you say looking at the cards in front of you?
yeah, I can tell where they've chipped out. They've used uh, the cheapest way to produce everything imaginable, and the artwork costs are going to be a fraction of any other game. So,
Why so?
pardon?
Why so on the art cost?
Because of the type of art it is, it's quick.
Quick art. Okay.
It's cheap art.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, like I said, like they're using the pastel watercolors. Yeah.
the watercolors you can fake on Photoshop, but they're probably about the, if they are real and they're not done on Photoshop, they're closest to the only expensive part of the art.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, and even then, because they're so much done like a coloring book, it's not going to be much. I'm actually surprised they even have artists and they just don't do it themselves. It's to that point.
Hmm.
Like, I get it from an indie standpoint. I completely get it. Art is freaking expensive, but for what they're bringing in, I just, the thing with MetaZoo is everything just to me feels like it was capitalizing on a lot of goings on at the time, namely with Pokemon and the nostalgia part of the Pokemon fan base. I think in some ways maybe they saw it as a quick way to success by giving mainly 30 somethings, because I don't think, I'm not convinced it was for children. 30 somethings, something that's, I guess, the mighty number 9 to Pokemon, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Mi- I mean, Mighty Number Nine to Mega Man to Pokemon. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. Yeah. I mean, they really got really fortunate too with the stimulus money.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
never discount that.
yeah.
That's like an unrepeatable thing that they did right there. So they hit
Because,
at the right time. Market conditions were perfect. So
yeah, but
yeah, like
because
on a life of its own.
you've heard that the game had to be fixed with later sets, right?
No, what happened with that?
Yeah, apparently the first set is horribly unbalanced. I've played the first set. It's quite the experience. I don't mean that in a good way. But from what I've been told, the second and third sets, they had to get on someone to fix the game part of it.
Mm, okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. There's a lot of types, and there's a whole like crazy color pie, and that just seems like too much. But I did like the fourth wall effects.
Same.
And yeah, they got the characters, they got the cryptids, they got the story, they got the Hello Kitty collabs. They were supposed to have the Arby's. You been keeping up with that drama?
No, we don't have Arby's here.
Yeah, so there's some drama or whatever. Like the latest drama is, of course, everybody's saying it's doomed right now, like it's failing right now. So some guys have been saying like Arby's dropped them because they just have too many satanic cards and everything, too many too many graphic cards. They got Satan on stuff, and on the back of the card, if you've ever noticed, the back of the card has an upside down pentagram.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And they got like
I
a
don't.
bunny killer in the game. It's not for kids.
Yeah, but then they're trying to make it more kid friendly now since they're kind of facing more backlash, and then they're saying Arby's may have backed out of the deal because they like announced that back in May, and I'm still looking to go to Arby's to give me some Metazoo cards, but they haven't spoke they haven't spoken on it since, so I don't know.
Cliffordonk says MetaZoo is unplayable. I'm not sure I'd say it's unplayable, but I'd say it is one of the most tedious, mind-numbing experiences I've ever had the misfortune to play. I'm actually thinking about trying it again with those release decks I got. I've floated the idea of making a review with them. Might fold it into the podcast later on. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a good experience. I don't really understand how anyone would play it properly. I have actually recorded the opening for those three. I have some comments on the some stuff in there. I'm curious about. Have you got the starter decks for Metazoo?
Yeah, I've got quite a few of them.
You open it?
I got I haven't done any video openings, but like I say, I've played like twice. The games weren't smooth, but I just chalk it up to being my first times playing it. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's
But
some
yeah,
things in
yeah,
Metazoo that are wow to me because this is my first time actually seeing the cards. I will say this: I do think the reverse foils with the creatures being foil but not the card is actually really nice. I really like that.
yeah. I mean, they've definitely got some nice treatments, and they were doing gangbusters. But I mean, since the prices have plummeted,
Yeah,
but
because even
yeah.
the Cryptid Nation first editions are going down, aren't they?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. They were I think like they're like hitting all time lows on the Kickstarter boxes. They've gone some two sub $2,000. I think a lot of people getting out of their holdings. With yeah,
Cool.
Clefadunk said, meanwhile, in Japan, you're legally required to have a pentagram or hexagram in your TCG slash J. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. As far as Metagoo goes, I just I don't see it being around in 5 years.
Man, the big thing on Metazoo though is they were big on like they sold it to you. They got a 5-year plan, which they do, which they have a constant stream of products coming out, and like that that in itself is like enough to get the stores on board because like they got a constant flow of product to sell. So I mean, like I'm sure they're having to pivot and change things, but like they do still have
Yeah, yeah.
the pipeline.
Plans are all well and good until something goes wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of going wrong right now, but
Yeah. See, this is actually something I think with a lot of these, even Wizards of the Coast, how they're going on right now. You know how Metazoo has those tops cards?
yeah,
Yeah, they're actual trading cards, aren't they? Like booster packs and chase cards and everything, but no text.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think the way a lot of people carry on about card games, I think in many ways they'd be better off just doing trading cards. That's kind of my take on the entire medium as a whole. I think so many people prioritize the collectability of cards over anything else, and from what I've seen, I reckon it's the majority of consumers at this point, and probably was back in the '90s too. At least for everything that wasn't Magic. Definitely Pokemon, always been for Pokemon. And I think in a lot of ways, trading cards, especially given that people go haywire over special treatments and full arts, whatnot, would probably be the better product for them.
Um, yeah, but when we say that though, what kind of trading cards have
Sports
actually
cards.
struck with us?
Sports style cards.
But me, like, I don't like sports though,
No, no,
so
no.
I'm
What I
not
mean
into those.
is, no, what I mean is like, you make it like, say, a Pikachu trading card. It's not a sports card. It's clearly a Pokemon card, but it's not a Pokemon TCG card. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm saying like as far as with me and the people I've seen buying trading card game cards, they don't really get into just straight up trading cards. The last time me and my cohort have been into trading cards was like the Marvel cards of the early 90s.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is if people putting such high focus on collectability and sales value, which Trading cards do. That's their modus operandi. That is literally how they function and sell themselves. Why is that not the priority over a game piece, which ultimately makes games a problem? You get where I'm going with it?
Yeah, like what you're saying, but I mean, I'm like, you gotta have the game to back it though for people to care. For for a certain cohort of people to care.
Do you though? The sports cards do gangbusters. Same concept.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like there's a like in a Venn diagram, the overlap with sports cards collectors and trading card game collectors. I think that overlap is pretty small.
No. We're talking about the overlap of people that want cards as collectibles slash art, and people that want to play games.
Hmm.
It's sports cards is the best comparison, but the sports component of it isn't really relevant. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like back when Pokemon was really hot and big, there were Pokemon trading cards, but they just got completely pushed out of the way by the TCG. And honestly, a lot of those cards were nicer quality with nicer treatment than the TCG. But the TCG had better marketing.
Hmm. True.
Yeah, it's
I,
the
I
whole
think the
TCG.
game adds so much to it. The game adds so much interest to it.
Did it though? That's the kind of the thing. Well, especially when you look at Pokemon in particular, the vast majority of the consumer base is more interested in collecting the cards and profiting off the cards than they are actually playing the game. Yes, the Pokemon CCG is growing. It has been consistently since Pokemon's resurgence ish with X and Y or Black and White or whatever. That'd be X and Y. But, or Sun and Moon, I forget which one. But the volume. Are you familiar with the YouTuber Shuckle, Drunk Shuckle?
Haven't heard of them.
Yeah, he's a Pokemon TCG YouTuber. Mostly covers older things. He works in a TCG shop. Now he used to work in mental health, but he found the job. You didn't really get to do the job properly what you were trained for, which is very common for the medical sector. But he was saying the vast majority of people that buy Pokemon, something like 80%, are collectors.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And when you start looking about how things are treated in other games, like I don't think it's true of Vanguard. I would say the vast majority of Vanguard is players, but the reason things go the way they do is because Bushiroad's deliberately rigged up the booster packs to sell out as soon as possible. But each game's going to have its own scenarios. But when you look at the larger games that have these large components of collectors, Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think has a collector sector at all, really. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a real outlier there. But when you look at these games, like, again, Pokemon, I think to some degree, Yu-Gi-Oh! Not Yu-Gi-Oh! Digimon, well, the Bandai games, with the exception of Battle Spirits in general, when you look at games like what's it called, MetaZoo. And a lot of these things that come off Kickstarter, especially, I'm just sitting here going, trading cards would be a better option for what you're really selling, which is the marketability, the profitability, and the collectability of the product. Why isn't it a trading card? And actually, going back to MetaZoo for a sec, I actually wonder how much of MetaZoo's initial popularity is the Rudy factor of Rudy telling people to like this because it is worth money.
I mean that. I mean, if I had to put a percentage on it, I would maybe say 10% coupled with a 25% of stimulus money, coupled with they've got this cool cryptid idea with the fourth wall effects, just all melding together. But yeah,
Who
I
was
mean, it
talking about
certainly.
Metazo's gameplay though?
Yeah, nobody's talking about the gameplay really,
No,
except the fourth wall effects.
yeah, but even then, it's just a novelty of the game. They're talking about the collectability factor and how much money it is worth.
Yeah, yeah. The thing about I'm thinking about like why not just regular trading cards is because the whole trading card game infrastructure leads to the chase. You got to rotate out the cards. You've got power creep. You've got the competitive nature of what build is going to be on top and what's going to beat this. That kind of drives the economy, the excitement versus just a regular trading card. You're lacking all of that stuff. You just have okay, these cards are real pretty. This one has this kind of treatment.
Yeah,
It's
but
got
it
this
is
kind of.
trading cards do have rarity levels, and they're doing so well at the moment, and no one pays attention to it. And this is why Wizards of the Coast is copying them with all their special things. Is they can charge about as much as Wizards of the Coast is charging for their collector boosters, and their boosters are like they're 40 Australian, and it's like this is perfectly normal for them.
Oh
There is a
yeah,
market for trading cards that will spend big money on them, and
yeah, but the
and it is
magic.
fairly common.
Yeah, but the backlash that Magic is receiving now is kind of something to be scared of. And they're coming out with way too much stuff right now.
But again, that's not really relevant to the oh jeez, got my headphones on too much. Magic coming out with too much. It's more about them copying something they see success with in a different realm and seeing what the market's really like about the collectability part of the game. Like, I'll fully say most people that are into play, which I'd really like to say Magic's numbers, are not going to like this stuff. To me, as someone who mostly likes gameplay, who only rarely wants art or cares about it, the all I really see all these treatments Magic is doing, or Pokemon does, is just devaluing the garbage versions of them. To me, that's a positive. I mean, I know it pisses people off, but that's just how I see it. You're making the lower versions more affordable because they're less desirable.
Mm.
I mean, I think there is definitely a positive spin that I think there is definitely an argument for Wizards of the Coast in particular not really making nice products. I mean, if you compare how Wizards of the Coast sells their high rarity special treatment ones, they are kind of garbo compared to Pokemon. Uh, Pokemon's honestly kind of garbo compared to what Forceful used to be with the textured foils and that. Uh, Forceful's main issue with its more collector focused cards were that they were too common. They
Mm.
didn't play up the scarcity. They didn't play up the collectability.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hit the perfect ratios with these things. So,
As I've been told by store owners straight up, uh, people like collectability, not much else about the games. That's what their general
wow.
consumer is.
Hmm.
Because I've been doing market research for quite a few things, and that's straight up what I'm told. I just want to comment, Jason King, yeah, but the money isn't in collectible art, it's in the TCG. Is it though? Is it? Because look at the types of cards that are worth big money. It's either because they have a story behind them, like the Big Nine, uh, Charizard and base set, or Yu-Gi-Oh really doesn't have this, but yeah, there's a couple of things in Yu-Gi-Oh that have an interesting story behind them and are worth money. Or they're the high rarity versions made and engineered with collectability in mind so that they become scarce, so that They've got treatments that make them desirable, so they've got characters on them that make them desirable to induce that chase. No different to how trading cards work, where they'll put specific people with specific subsets that are harder to find than normal sets because they're sets within sets, and they'll have special treatments, etc., etc. It's literally the same MO. The only difference is, and I read this on Poker Beach a very, very long time ago, and I always thought to myself that it was a lie, and then I gradually realized it was the truth. It was talking about the Pokemon TCG, that the TCG part of it was just smoke and mirrors to make you think it's deeper than just being a piece of paper with a picture on it. It's like, from what everything I've heard from Jeff, as far as the back end is concerned, that is the entire point behind it.
As far as every TCG or what?
Vast majority. Because we have to accept as a consumer, we don't really give a shit about the back end, do we? It's not our business, and it's not really our concern. But the fact of the matter is, if these things aren't turning a profit, they aren't continuing. Therefore, them making money is the prime objective of them because they are a product. Products need to make money to exist. It's not a nice pill to swallow. I mean, we'd all like to think games are games, they're fun, they're designed to be fun and enjoyable, but that's not how things really work in reality. You need to turn over a certain amount. You need to be able to market it. You need to know who you're marketing to and reach certain sales points. And there are ways to do that, and they're all related to the trading card part of trading card game. The game part only really is relevant when you can merge both, and that's when you hit power creep and broken cards.
So you mean to tell me the people that go to the card store and play games, they're not even the intended demographic?
I don't really think so, no. That's why Wizards of the Coast in particular is more than happy to screw over the card stores. Because look at how Wizards of the Coast acts.
Even in Yu-Gi-Oh, though, that's got to be the outlier for certain, because they're definitely targeting the players.
I've seen evidence saying the vast majority of players are influenced by the anime.
But they don't have a current, do they?
They're buying because of the cartoon. They've marketed to. Pokemon's exact same way.
So, like, if you had a percentage of player focus, how much of the trading card game audience is player focused? Player focused is.
What are we actually defining as player focused here, though? Are we defining player focused as the kitchen table, or are we defining it as the card shop?
Both. Anybody sitting down and actually playing the game.
Because when you put both together, you open it up to a lot of people. When you start narrowing it down to who's doing what, you start getting very different numbers. And that's also going to be by game. You can't really say by game. But look at what fires in your local store, and you'll start getting a very, very distinct pattern.
Okay, yeah, I mean, since we're on it, define kitchen table. How many times a month do they play the game kitchen table?
I don't think that's even relevant. They're just playing with their friends when they get the time, because you've got to remember, as an adult, you're going to have less time to get together. And I think kitchen table play would also include what we used to do as kids. We would play at school.
Yeah, I mean, like, game, so, yeah.
We're talking about, like, how we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Would be the big three, mostly. because I can't imagine much else is played at kitchen table because of accessibility. It's it's an interesting thing, and it's more taking on what stores have said, what surveys are done, and what companies have done to put together a full picture because we can't really see uh, everything together because those numbers aren't compiled because I will be really frank. I think it will paint a very, very soul crushing picture for the general consumer.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great topic for like episode 5, 6, 7, or 8. But
Like, I'm not saying don't enjoy games. I'm none of the sort. I'm not saying that the people that, while they have to bend to the will of the bean counters at these companies, which is very important. I'm not saying they don't put in hard work. I'm not saying they don't try their hardest to make the games the best they can. I'm just saying that there are priorities in game creation and game experience, not really one of the top ones. You get where I'm going?
yeah, like where you going?
Yeah, it's more talking about the business side of the business. Games made for slash by competitors like the spoils do not last. That's very true, and I suspect that's why well, not why, but part of the reasons Battle Spirits might be hurting a little bit. Oh, Arjun Saga, that's another one that failed because it went competitive. Yeah, the casual consumer is always going to be the biggest one. The people just buying packs at their local stores, playing with their friends at the kitchen table, or collecting them. More likely collecting them. Because you don't get to meet up with your friends all that often. Yeah, this went dark,
Man,
didn't it?
I can't help but to try to think of counterpoints, but none's really coming ahead right now.
No, it's not really a matter of counterpoint. I think it's just a matter of accepting things for what they are, accepting what you can't change, and just enjoying them for what you enjoy out of them. You get what I mean?
Okay, so here we go though. Flesh and blood though. That's the counterpoint. Flesh and blood.
Okay. Oh, we're talking about Flesh and Blood starting as a collector focused game, then realizing, holy shit, people actually want to play this.
I think they were always player focused though.
No. The first is very, very clearly collector focused. Then they had to re-release things in reprint sets or secondary printings with adjusted rarity to get more of the cards out there people wanted to play while keeping the collectability of the initial print. Now, because I think the Frosted Falls are only, pardon me, in the first print.
They're what do they call them?
The Frosted Foils.
They call them something proprietary, but I forget
Yeah.
what it's called. But
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
Caramonde, the printer, calls them.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
And
again,
I'm more
and
gameplay myself. These are good things to really know and be really aware of.
Like, the company behind Flesh and Blood was a card store in New Zealand that sold Yu-Gi-Oh! Exclusively, right?
Not at all. Legend Story Studios.
Yeah, they started as a card store in New Zealand that sold Yu-Gi-Oh! That's how they had their connections down under to card stores. That's how they knew how to engineer something that would sell.
I never heard of that part, but I do know the guy, the creator, James White. He used to play he used to work for Versus System, and he used to be like a pro player for. I think it was a pro. Could have been Magic or maybe just pro Versus System player or something like that. But yeah, but that's I mean, it's strange how nobody ever talks about that aspect of it though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to look some more into that and bring that up more.
Yeah, as I said, I'm not saying don't enjoy these things, but what I'm saying is when you look at a card that comes out that really swamps everything else and you get pissy about a shitty meta or whatnot, remember it's because profits come first, because it's a company, it's not a it's they're not your friends. The people behind it that are actually designing the cards are probably trying their hardest, but they've got people they've got to answer to, and you got to accept it for what it is. As much as we'd all like LCG type stuff to do well, it doesn't because that collectability factor is the highest one.
Now, Marvel Champions, they're doing pretty well in Arkham Horror. But I mean, Cole.
They're doing well for LCGs. They're doing well for what they are. They're not doing well in the terms of you can really compare them to anything but Battle Spirits from Bandai. You get what I mean? It's like a long time ago, and I think I've said this in the podcast before, the actual Pojo guy said you can survive with a small fan base so long as it's enough to continue. And that's how UFS...
Force of Will.
No, well, Force of Will now, but UFS, what is now Universes, has survived so very long because they've been able to make enough money to survive off that small contingent of people they're playing. And they keep trying to push for new players, like they tried with Street Fighter and Mega Man before they did the recent My Hero Academia, which seems to be the first time the game's really done considerably well, considering it's been out for some 15 years or plus now. But yeah, you just, as a player, I think you can't leave your blinders on to the fact that it is a collectible first and foremost. It is a product, and business is going to do as business does.
But I mean, here's my thing though. Okay, so I'm the board game / card game guy. So board games, they're not about collectability at all, really.
No.
But yet and still, you have plenty of people buying board games.
From what I've seen, it died down after the pandemic died down. Yeah, that's what I've seen. I'm getting myself in my headphones.
I'm not.
Okay.
It sounds fine to me.
Okay, it is now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, board games still sell to me. I mean, it seems like.
Yeah, and you also have to remember the board games are a very, very different beast in regards to how they are produced and how they are price pointed.
Yeah.
It's like, from what I understand, a board game might be closer to a toy in terms of what you're actually producing.
And why so different than trading card games? Because the lead off time, or because of what?
Because it's a one and done product.
One and done product. There's often exceptions.
Even with expansions, it's no real different for toys having like a combiner piece or whatnot. You also have to remember with board game creation, for the most part, if you go to a publisher, the publisher owns most everything about it. You're not really seeing companies for board games like you do Force of Wilco, Weeds of the Shore, etc., etc. Even though Force of Will is kind of a shell company of Daiko Printing, it's still a bit more independent. It's a different business structure behind the scenes. There's, of course, going to be, especially, I've come across this indie board games, but that are run by their actual company. They do the manufacture themselves with businesses in China, manufacturing facilities, factories. So I can remember words. But the thing is, they're also going to have to take the pressure of ordering some 2,000 copies plus to make the MOQ low enough. They're going to have to build all those business relations or do all the selling themselves on the website. the ROI has to be accounted for by them. There's a lot of business parts behind that. That when you sell it off to a publisher, they all take care of.
Yeah, the business of things is really above my head.
Yeah,
But you were saying what?
yeah. It's like everything we consume. Really, it's as a consumer, none of this shit is really our concern. It's like, is the end product fun or tasty or good or whatever? That's the beginning and end of our real concerns. But when you get into why certain things are the way they are, and it brings up the business side of it, and then you start bringing in who the actual demographics are and why they're consuming things, things change in how they're perceived. And I think there is a lot of to do my Star Wars reference for the day. No, it can't be true. It's impossible because not a lot of this is nice to hear.
Oh yeah.
But as I said, just have fun with what you want to have fun with. I mean, what more can you do as a consumer?
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta kind of just gotta take what they present to you. So, for the most part.
And if you don't like it, don't buy it. If you feel you're being treated like crap, don't consume anymore. Move on.
Oh yeah. Before the scroll gets too long, let's say Cleffa Duck says in a dead TCG group or Facebook, they saw some people responding to this question: what IP, current or inactive, would you like to take over / continue producing instead of the current state if you could?
Oh, that's a good question. Uh, Dead IP or game, huh? Do you want to go first while I think?
Man, I was just thinking about I went to Gen Con and played this game Warlord. That game was excellent, like an AEG game. It actually died twice before, but I think a third company like is picking it up. Some fans, Kingswood, they're picking it up. That game is pretty excellent. I really rather enjoyed that game, Warlord. But
I've never heard of it.
yeah, like it uses a Dungeons and Dragons D20, and then like you set up your forces. You have like a commander or whatever. They're going to be like at the bottom of your line, I believe, and then like you have like an upside down triangle. So like you might have 4 guys up at the top. Those are the weak minions. Then you have a level 2. Those are like stronger in the middle. Then you'll have your warlord like at the bottom, like a single guy, 3 guys, and
Yeah.
4 guys, maybe 3 guys, 2 guys, 1 guy. But like you can fight with the guys at the top level, but then some guys are rangers, of course, and then they maybe could pop off from the second row and then hit guys in the fourth row or something like that. And then as your guys die, they collapse up. Then if they get hit again or something, they really die or something like that.
That
But
sounds interesting.
great. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna drop my gameplay probably in the next 2 weeks, but great game. But I've already did one last year of it too. But yeah, great game though. They're bringing it back, but yeah. But IPs though, I would love to see Pirates of the Dark Water. I'd love to see like Invader Zim. I'd also love to see Rick and Morty TCG, but
I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
yeah, me too. I mean, they've got the deck building game, but that for some reason didn't really translate to. I mean, it didn't get too popular for some reason.
Yeah, I wanted the GI Joe deck building game, but I never found it on shelf. I never got around to ordering it online.
I've got that. I never got to play it,
Heard good things.
man. Yeah, like I had a good Tuesday group, but then like
Heard
things
better
happen,
things than the
and
Transformers game.
yeah, or the My Little Pony, but like that's not our demographic. But
Or is it? Nah. That's actually something that I was kind of uh, curious about how it played, but it's like, you know what? I because I wasn't printing out at the time, I don't have it in me to go buy My Little Pony cards. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You know what? Looking
I,
around me, I think I'd pick Ninja Turtles.
yeah, Ninja Turtles. Yeah, they'll definitely be back. You never experienced the TCG, did you?
No, but I've been thinking about picking up the Star Decks because it's still available here for some reason.
Yeah, I think our boy Neil Scyther had reviewed it.
Oh, I
I
love
don't
Neil
think he's.
Scyther. He's great.
Yeah, love that Neil Scyther. I guess he's disenchanted with the TCGs now too, or something.
Yeah, I know he went to Gen Con, but he didn't really talk about much.
Yeah, didn't talk about it much, man. He went this year. You're saying, huh?
Yeah, I think so. It was
Yeah.
either this year or last. But yeah, I used to
Yeah.
really, really enjoy his channel.
Oh yeah, man. Speaking of channels, did you ever follow TCG Buzz at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the ginger dude. I forget his
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
Colin.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
I know, like they stopped dropping videos, but dude was supposed to be working on the game, and then you don't really hear anything about it yet. But still working on it. But
Yeah, it kind of dropped off the face of the earth.
yeah, they try to come back every once in a while to say we're still here, but not really. But
No, I think it's probably just, as we're discussing a few times, when you get older, it's hard to make that time for everyone to meet up because everyone has their own schedules.
oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
They should probably stop with the whole having the set for it and just do it like this. It's probably going to be easier for them.
Yeah, true, true.
Yeah, I've got to try out the Ninja Turtle game. I've heard all right things about Decipher's Mega Man and Dot Hack games. I was actually going to review both of them at one time, but I just never had it in me. But yeah, I'd actually like to see a Ninja Turtles game done well. It's if Hyperduke had done well, I'd probably be interested in licensing it.
Yeah, yeah. Man, just yeah. I mean, you need those marketing dollars behind you, and
Oh yeah,
but if you don't have it, then it's just hard.
or you have to be not known person.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I think being known in communities, I think that's the only reason Alternative Spirits got over. Alternative Soul, sorry.
Yeah,
'Cause I hate to,
yeah. That continuing, that's pretty discontinued, right?
pardon?
That's pretty discontinued now, right?
Uh, from what I hear, set 3 is meant to come out, but I I don't know. Not even Jeff really knows what's going on behind the scenes because he's kind of being pushed out a little bit, and that's my take. He'd probably have a different take on it, but that's from what he's told me is the case. And
Yep, and Easy's
I just
will
more
call
interested
now.
in Force of Will,
Okay, yeah.
which yeah, if it's more successful, fine. I do understand that, but there's some stuff with the Kickstarter that he's left people in the lurch.
Okay. Yeah. Alternate souls. Yeah, Clefadunk also says Fab pack structure is pretty scummy under the veil of drafting. Well, they're coming out with class specific sets now, so that shouldn't be so much of a problem now.
Yeah, I have very very mixed opinions on the whole Vanguard system with the clans and whatnot, and unmixable attributes because I get it from a pack standpoint. From a game standpoint, I don't really have much issue for it, and Fab's kind of in the same ballpark. It's like, yeah, I see exactly the point from a consumer standpoint, but there's also the factor in there that if you've got to set the okay, let's say I make a I don't know, Grand Blue set for old Vanguard. Well, that's only going to appeal to people that play Grand Blue. So you've cut off a lot of the consumer base and made that product harder to sell, not only for the stores but for yourself. because you have to sell it to the distributors, who sell it to the stores, who sell it to you. Because this is actually something I don't know if anyone knows. When you buy a card game, let's say you buy Vanguard, right? You're not Bushiroad's customer. You're your store's customer. Your store is the distributor's customer. The distributor is Bushiroad's customer.
Hmm.
I mean,
Wow.
yeah, you tell the store if you're upset. They'll tell the distributor they're upset. The distributor will tell the publisher they're upset.
Man, like a long chain.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why it's good to have access to people like Mark Rosewater and all that from Wizards of the Coast, because you can go up to Mark directly and go, "Hey, Mark, the product sucks, and you're a doopy head."
Oh yeah. Give it to him.
Yeah.
But he's still. I mean, he's still controlled by the shareholders. So what can
Oh
he
yeah.
do?
Yeah. And from what I understand, the current Hasbro CEO, who used to be the guy that ran Wizards of the Coast, is a bit of a piece of work.
Really? Okay. What all kind of scandals was he into?
More screw everyone for as much profit as we can get type stuff. Consumer.
He's still the CEO?
Pardon?
Is he still the current CEO?
Oh yeah, yeah. Richard Cox, I think his name is.
Yeah. Cox.
Yeah,
Rudy's always talking about Cox. Yeah.
yeah. Rudy's always talking about Cox.
Cox in a box. Yeah.
Yeah, but because I collect a lot of Transformers and GI Joe off. Well, I don't really collect anymore because I've really got everyone I want over the years, and updates after a certain point, I'm not interested. But what actually happened over there, and this is the same that happened to Wizards of the Coast, it's not a matter of, oh, we've got increased costs, we have to up the price. It's like, we're increasing the costs because of we're increasing the price because of the costs. Let's make an increased profit on that too.
Yeah. I mean, how sustainable is it? I guess that's yet to be seen.
Well, I know a lot of Hasbro products go on clearance up there and down here, so make of that what you will.
Yeah.
Stores can't put things on clearance indefinitely.
Yeah, I know there was a huge thing about the Star Wars sequel toys. Those were just a bunch of landfill fodder.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
still see videos talking about that. Still seeing them on shelves.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
But who came out with? I know, like it wasn't Kenner. Who came out with those?
Oh, Kenner was bought by Hasbro back in like '93.
Okay, but I mean, who made those latest those sequel toys?
Hasbro's been making them since they bought Star Wars back in like '95 or something.
Okay, so we're talking about Hasbro right now. Okay,
We're
crazy.
always talking about Hasbro.
Always talking about Hasbro. Okay.
Yeah. I also wonder with the Star Wars thing, like you're seeing a lot of people our age, especially that grew up with the prequel movies, that unlike the adults from back then, people our age do have a certain level of appreciation for them. Like,
Oh yeah.
I like the Phantom Menace and Revenge of the Sith quite a lot. Not the Attack of the Clones. Don't like that movie, but I like the other two. And I'm still dying to get Hayden Christensen from Episode 3, because that's the last thing I really want to finish up my small Star Wars collection. But you have to wonder, these sequel movies, I should say, they're doing bad now. When the kids from, say, 5 years ago are grown up, are they going to develop that appreciation for them? And maybe people our age will come around to the sequel movies. Maybe it's because ultimately Star Wars is a kid's property, as much as no one wants to hear it. It is a kid's property, and you're not a kid. It's I think there's some other factors in there. Maybe that the kids won't appreciate because if they're all ending up in landfills, it's not resonating with them. But then again, kids don't like toys as much as they used to.
Yeah, so true. They got their iPads now.
Yeah.
I just like Darth Maul and General Grievous, and then maybe the Knights of Ren. Like if they didn't suck, maybe I like those guys for toys. But eh,
Yeah, they're doing a new
they
General
could.
Grievous, but he doesn't come with the cape. It's like, wish he just came with the cape.
Mm, maybe an add-on from Etsy. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Man, we didn't really touch on game design. Looking at the topics, did we?
A little bit, I think.
Yeah. Do you think there's room for like a really innovative place to take TCGs like they haven't been taken before? Or do you think it's just stamped down by the boardroom and how you've got to profit?
Oh, so we haven't really seen anything truly innovative for around a decade now, I'd say.
Man, what was the last innovative thing you would say, really?
Oh, it'd actually be more than that. I mean, Vanguard was a breath of fresh air in, 2012, 2014 for us, but it is ultimately derivative of other games. I'd actually say you have to go back to the early 2000s to stuff like, again, One Piece, to some degree Naruto, I guess, because a bit of Vanguard's and I guess Vice Schwartz's design comes from Naruto. Stuff like a lot of Bandai's output then, like the Digimon Battle Coliseum. You have to go for stuff like Pokemon back in its day. It's like,
Mm,
I think because of just how prominent Duel Masters is in Japan, that's and how it's seen as a more well crafted game than say Yu-Gi-Oh. That's why it's so influential. I don't know if it's anything else. I think it's the only reason Yu-Gi-Oh isn't seen as influential is because it's kind of a broken mess. As much as I like Yu-Gi-Oh, I think there's a lot of fun to be had in Yu-Gi-Oh. But if you're gonna compare it to other things, there's clearly a lot of patchwork there. Not, yeah, because the design is based on something that was never meant to be played. It was a dramatization of Magic the Gathering retrofit for a manga.
yeah.
It's like, it's hard to say because you'd say, okay, clearly there's a pattern where everyone's building off Duel Masters. Duel Masters, then by form Magic by extension, is clearly the peak of TCG design that hit it on the head first time around. It's just your flavor of Magic that suits you. But you say that, and who knows what's going to happen down the track? Is there going to be something that comes out down the track that just is innovative and finds some way to do something or introduces a new aspect? I can't see it personally. It feels like most everything is just reconfiguring or recontextualizing a lot of mechanics we've seen. But it's one of those things. I'll say something and then I'll go eat crow later.
Yeah. Man, if you ask me, like, Netrunner, that was pretty innovative.
Yeah, but Netrunner is like early 90s, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But yeah, I mean, surely
Oh,
there's
wait, I
something
forgot
out
about
there.
Keyforge. Keyforge is probably while it's got board game aspects, it's probably an innovative game.
Man, I was kind of like, I really need to do my studying, but I've got this. From what I hear, I've got this. Man, what game is it? I think it's like the Middle Earth game or something, or
Yeah.
something where you tap for the resource too. Kind of seems kind of derivative of that,
Ah,
but
okay, you found
it's
it.
good and they put it together real nice and very accessibly. But yeah, but
Kind of like how
I
the resource gauge comes from that Crystal board game. You know, there's
Crystal Ball. Oh, the Crystal Cleanse.
yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, there's that. But yeah, but the three houses and everything with the unique deck, that's great innovation right there for sure.
Yeah.
But oh yeah. Clefadunk says Commander being the focal point of card playing is a problem the biggest thing to happen in
That is probably the
TCGs.
biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. For
Yeah.
a while, Commander became completely irresistible to card gamers until right around COVID happened.
I'd say Commander's still going strong.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but then again,
Yeah.
Commander itself, really, really old in the grand scheme of things. Because I did that video about Commander's origins a long time ago. Commander, as we know it now, is a recent affair, but it has its origins in very old stuff. Anyway, I'm actually running out of power, so we're going to have to close it now.
You're gonna have to close it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to go to a different room for quiet. Sorry, guys. And we're at
All
the
right.
2 hour mark anyway.
Oh yeah, it's been real. We can pick this up a little later or something.
Yeah. It ended up a really
All right.
dark episode, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to get to the real nitty gritty of things.
Yeah, we're going to have to
and
do
really
this
make.
again and talk about something more fun.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Brighten up the mood. All right, well, later, Gators.
If you guys don't know Foyo Games, he has a YouTube channel. Be sure to check him out and subscribe.
Please do. I'm trying to make that 400 subs any day now.
So thanks everyone for watching. This has been Eric and Foyo Games, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.